Susan Graham's life took an unexpected and dramatic turn when she became a state's witness in the notorious Tate LaBianca murder trial. Born in Los Angeles in the early 1940s, Susan grew up in a modest household, raised by hardworking parents who instilled in her the values of honesty and resilience. Despite her ordinary beginnings, Susan's life would become anything but ordinary, as she unwittingly found herself entangled in one of the most infamous criminal cases in American history. In the late 1960s, Susan, a young woman with a love for adventure and a free-spirited nature, drifted into a lifestyle that flirted with the edges of legality. She moved within circles that were far from the mainstream, often mingling with individuals who lived on the fringes of society. It was during this period that she met Ronnie Howard, another woman who shared her sense of wanderlust and rebellion against societal norms. The two quickly became friends, their bond forged in the shared experiences of their turbulent lives. By 1969, Susan found herself in trouble with the law, facing charges of forgery. She was sentenced to serve time at the Sybil Brand Institute for Women, a correctional facility in Los Angeles. It was here, amidst the walls of the institution, that Susan's path crossed with that of Susan Atkins, a member of the Charles Manson's infamous family. Adkins, known to her fellow inmates as Sadie Mae Glutz, was a petite woman with a magnetic presence. She exuded an eerie calmness and spoke with an unsettling mixture of innocence and malevolence. Initially, Susan Graham was cautious of Sadie, recognizing the dark undercurrents that seemed to swirl around her. However, life in the correctional facility could be monotonous, and conversations among inmates often ventured into the realms of personal confessions and shared secrets. One evening, as the women settled into their nightly routine, Sadie began to reveal details that would forever alter Susan Graham's life. Sadie spoke about her life with Charles Manson and the family, describing their communal living arrangements. Manson's charismatic hold over his followers and their bizarre apocalyptic beliefs. As the nights wore on, Sadie's stories became more gruesome, culminating in the shocking confession of her involvement in the brutal murders of actress Sharon Tate and 6 others over 2 nights in August 1969. Susan listened in growing horror as Sadie detailed the events of those nights, the break-ins, the terror of the victims, the cold-blooded killings, and the bloody aftermath. She spoke of writing pig on the door of Sharon Tate's home with the actress's blood, a grotesque symbol of their nightmarish mission. Susan's mind reeled with the gravity of the information she had just heard. This was not mere prison bravado. It was a first-hand account of some of the most heinous crimes in recent history. Torn between fear and a profound sense of justice, Susan knew she could not remain silent. The victims and their families deserved justice, and the chilling menace of Manson and his followers had to be stopped. Susan decided to confide in Ronnie Howard, who was equally appalled by Sadie's confessions. Together, they resolved to take action. The 2 women carefully devised a plan to relay the information to the authorities. They knew that approaching the prison staff directly could be dangerous, as word may get back to Sadie and the other Manson followers. Instead, they reached out to their attorney, providing him with detailed accounts of Sadie's confessions. The attorney, recognizing the significance of their testimony, contacted the Los Angeles Police Department. Law enforcement officials were initially skeptical. The case had already garnered massive media attention, and they had faced numerous false leads and wild speculations. However, as Susan and Ronnie recounted the details of Sadie's confessions, the police began to see the potential breakthrough. The information provided by the two women matched key elements of the crime scenes and helped connect Manson and his followers to the murders. As the investigation progressed, Susan Graham's role as a state's witness became crucial. Her testimony, along with that of Ronnie Howard, provided the prosecution with insider accounts that bolstered their case against Manson and his followers. Vincent Bugliosi, the lead prosecutor, understood the importance of their testimonies in establishing Manson's direct influence over the killings and his role in orchestrating the murders. The trial began in June 1970, drawing intense public and media scrutiny. Susan Graham took the stand, her nerves tempered by a determination to see justice served. She recounted the chilling conversations with Sadie, describing the confessions in vivid detail. The courtroom was transfixed by her testimony, the horror of the crimes laid bare through her words. Bugliosi skillfully wove Susan's testimony into the larger narrative of the prosecution's case, emphasizing Manson's control over his followers and his malevolent vision of helter-skelter, a race war he believed the murders would incite. Susan's courage in coming forward was evident, her voice unwavering as she described the brutal reality of the Manson family's actions. The trial culminated in the conviction of Charles Manson and several of his followers for first-degree murder. The verdict brought a measure of closure to the families of the victims and demonstrated the power of the legal system to hold even the most notorious criminals accountable. Susan Graham's bravery in stepping forward as a state's witness was instrumental in securing this outcome. After the trial, Susan sought to rebuild her life away from the shadowy figure of the Manson family and Charles Manson. She continued to stay in touch with Ronnie Howard, their shared ordeal forging a bond that endured beyond the time in prison. Susan's decision to speak out, driven by a deep sense of justice and empathy for the victims, led an indelible mark on the case and ensured that the voices of the victims were heard. Years later, reflecting on her role in the trial, Susan Graham recognized the profound impact of her actions. Her courage in coming forward had helped bring one of the most dangerous criminals of the 20th century to justice, and her story served as a testament to the power of individual integrity in the face of overwhelming darkness. Thank you for listening. Please subscribe, hit the like button, and as always, sleep well.